All right, there's our 10th. So I'm gonna pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Call the meeting to order at 6:39. Can I have approval of agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any additions, corrections? No?
No, we just need an executive session for a legal matter.
Okay, excellent. All right, approval of minutes from October 28th, 2019. Oops, sorry, because we approved that agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And approval of minutes, please.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections, changes that anybody saw? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstention.
Abstention, thank you very much, Trevor. No student presentation because there was no school today, so there's no students today.
So we'll just move that to
Yeah.
December.
Yep, not a problem. Public comment? Just here to listen? Oh, fantastic, welcome. Correspondence, anything?
No.
No, all right, on to committee reports. Finance Committee, warrants are under there first.
Oh, we want to do it.
Yeah, looks like there's a little bulleted thing.
I'd like to make a motion to to approve Slate Valley warrants in the amount of $2,218,643.73.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'd like to make a motion to approve grants in the amount of $17,820.07.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. What does board process mean?
Oh, it's for the bond, but we didn't
Oh,
discuss
okay.
it, so we'll put that on our next agenda.
It'll go on the next one. And then budget for FY21 and whatever else we talked about at Finance Committee.
All right, so budget, we started, we were looking at, hold on one second. Anyway. We've been looking at some different options. The board brought us some information, or the superintendents brought us some information on some of the things that they're looking at. We did, as a finance committee, we decided to ask the superintendent to explore the possibility of allowing the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade from Benson Village School to explore the possibility of them moving to another school, whether it be, what's it called?
School choice.
School choice, through school choice. The numbers at Benson are very small. They're 6th, 7th, and 8th are 4 kids per class.
Well, 12 kids total.
12
Yep.
kids total in the
Yeah.
4 kids per class, 6th, 7th, and 8th, right?
3 teachers. Right.
So we're explore that possibility, and that would be discussing that with not only the principal and teachers at the Benson, but also the parents of the kids that are in those classes. Back to budget, Cheryl's working on the budget. It's a new budget tool for her, so it's taking her some time to learn it. She's having to put in all the employees, and that's going to take some time. She's hoping to have a first draft by December, was it 8th?
We're definitely going to have it for the 9th.
9th, thank you.
Absolutely.
So have a first draft by the 9th. There'll obviously be some numbers that are still up in the air. Insurance, we won't know by then. So that's hoping to know that by the 15th, maybe.
That was basically it.
Basically it. Anything else that?
I think that was it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Trevor. Policy Committee.
I make a motion that we rescind the following policies: B6, HIPAA compliance; C28, transgender and gender nonconforming students; B2, grade advancement; and F31, emergency school closings.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? And why are we rescinding, Tony?
They are, well, most of them are not necessary, but the transgender and gender nonconforming, we're waiting for our state to give us one that
The
follows the rule.
There's too
Follows
many
the
legal
law.
back and forth on different decisions, so the SBA is just recommending that we don't have a policy on that right now,
Gotcha.
till the courts settle it.
Okay. Any other questions other than mine? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, and
Make a motion that we adopt policy A2, participation at board meetings.
Second.
any discussion on that?
I didn't read it.
Back and review that. Yeah, I think we should review that pretty.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Was waiting for that. All right. Was wondering who read it. Okay, so then we need to,
Send it back
our motion needs to get taken away, rescind the motion, right?
and send it, and make a motion to
Rescind the
send
motion.
it back to policy.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so Tony, you're rescinding the motion?
Yes.
And then,
Did he take back his second?
I'll take back my second.
okay, and then we just send it to policy. We don't need a motion to that?
Well, you already warned it, so I think
Okay, so
you
we need
should
a
make a.
motion to send it back to the policy committee.
I make a motion, we send policy A2, participation at board meetings, back to the policy committee.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, we're at retirements.
So I believe Chelsea sent in your packet, we had a letter from Chris Stanton in regards to his desire to retire at the end of the school year after a long tenure in our district. So I would recommend that someone make a motion to accept that with regret.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Stanton, for your years of service. All right,
A really special teacher.
Yeah.
That did well beyond what was asked of him.
great, thank you, Trevor.
And then you also received a letter from Sandy James, who's been with us. This is her second year. She had come over from New York to fill an SLP position, and we're grateful for her service the last 2 years, but also would recommend you make a motion to accept her resignation.
She's a resignation.
It really would be resignation.
Yay, Dave. You made it safe.
I did.
All right, thank you.
I was standing outside because I forgot my key.
Oh, geez,
Oh.
who let you in?
The front's unlocked.
Oh, good. Oh, the front.
Yeah, the front.
Gotcha. Did you try every single door, Dave? Yeah. Okay, good. Smart. All right, so.
I didn't get anything.
Oh, that's- So we need a motion to accept the resignation of Sandy James, please.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes.
I mentioned resigning at the end of this year, but then would be open for positions next year.
Yes.
How is that?
She, her license expires at the end of the year, so I think she'd be open to other support staff roles within the district.
Maybe not the same role, but.
Never roll.
Right, correct.
All right, any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Is that it for that one?
Yeah. Tanya, Dave just arrived. Do you want to stay on the phone, or do you want, so we have a quorum now. It's up to you.
Tanya?
On mute.
Sorry, yes, I'll stay and listen.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. All right, we're now on to high school graduation.
So I was hoping Jason was going to be here to speak to this, but with our snow day today, he was unable to make it. So high school graduation this year, as you know, the last 2 years we've had it at Castleton University. This year we were informed that due to the timing of the event, it would cost them $20,000 to host us there again next year, and they were asking us to incur that cost of $20,000 for the setup of the tent. Jason spoke with the students, and they voted to move it back to the high school in June. So if that's acceptable to you all, that's what we would recommend doing for graduation this year.
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
All right.
We're gonna have it then here.
Where here?
Well, it'd be the
Depends on the
same
weather,
play.
right?
It depends on the weather. So inside or out. I mean, I think we.
We're not gonna put up a tent out here, though.
No, I mean, I think we looked at the cost of that. I think it's about $7,000, but I'd have to, we'd have to go back to our original probably plan of what we normally do.
Yeah, in the front, if not.
But we did not budget $20,000.
No.
Before it moved to the college, I believe it was, they were doing it on the football field?
Correct.
Yeah,
On
it was
LaPlaca Field?
Yes.
Yes.
LaPlaca Field,
Yes.
yeah.
And then if it rained, we would do it
You didn't put up a tent
inside.
then?
No.
No, we didn't.
You had a tent one time.
Not since
Not for a while.
Not for
my
a
ninth
while.
year.
I think there was at one point, but it's been a while.
Maybe, but it would have been a long time ago.
All right, Community Outreach Innovation Project.
So, a couple of things. I linked in the central office report, I put a link to the community meetings that Josh, our communications director, put together for us. But I have a hard copy for you.
And then there was an article in the Rutland Herald and in Vermont Digger over the weekend too, kind of starting that outreach. We reached out to them, were able to speak with them.
Josh put out our communications coordinator put out a press release to media last week. So we did do some interviews with BT Digger and the Herald last week. In addition to that, I had him compile this list of community meetings because I think it's important that as board members and administrators, we try to get to as many of these meetings as possible. And just wondering if folks would be willing to sign up and see if they can be put on the agenda at these meetings or go and talk at these meetings. I have Josh right now working on a packet of information that you could bring to the meetings along with some talking points, because it's really just about sharing the information so people can make an informed decision. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that piece first, and then I have some more, but.
So I'm noticing that Castleton, Hubbardton, and Orwell all have their meetings at the same time on the same days as our school board meetings.
Well,
board.
maybe
Or, yeah,
we
select board,
think of like, I know it's budget season, but if maybe we think about in December, then moving one of our board, we have 2 board meetings 2 weeks in a row. Maybe one of those board meetings we don't have, and this group divides up and sees if they can go to those 3 select board meetings instead.
Yeah,
Seems like a wise use of time.
yeah.
I think we should also try, for what it's worth, to go to the ones in our own communities for sure.
Oh, yeah. But like, if all the Castleton people, Orwell people, and, West Haven, and Hubbardton people were all gone the same day. So,
Is there a minimum number required to go in order to be a representation of the board?
You would have to warn it as a meeting if 10 of you
showed up. to the
showed up,
same
but I
meeting.
think, right, you're just giving them information, so,
Not taking
no,
any
you're
action.
fine.
Right,
You're fine.
yep.
So I don't know if people, are willing to, like, sign up and take the lead on different meetings and reach out to these groups and see if they can get put on agenda. I don't know how we want to handle that.
So right now, we have a board meeting the 9th and the 16th. Is that what you're saying? What day do we have board meetings?
Right, 9th and the 16th, because they're back to back because of Christmas break.
Right.
Um,
And I,
But the only one,
Is
I
the
mean, is the 9th, but we have a finance
Right.
meeting that we have to.
yes, we do. But we could do the finance meeting and no board meeting because all these select board meetings start at 7. So we could still have a finance meeting and not have a regular board meeting and still make all of our select board events.
Or could we do the meeting on the 10th?
Or
And then
could-
everybody go to the select board meeting on the 9th and,
And kind of debrief on the 10th?
yeah. Because you're gonna get some response back that night from those boards, so.
You think
at
so?
least-
Potentially, yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
might
Yeah,
want to
no,
engage in
I know.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's fine, whatever you guys would like to do.
So, what I think would be, and somebody can tell me they don't, but I'm thinking would be a good idea is if Josh sent out invitations to all the select boards for our Wednesday, November 20th meeting. Even if he just emailed the town managers or emailed the select board chair in each town and just sent them a personal that just said, dear so-and-so, we would really like to see you on the 20th. We plan to attend your meetings, but we would like you to have the same knowledge that we have by attending
Okay.
our open house on the 20th.
Good idea.
But I think just getting
We can
getting
do
that
that.
out there would be helpful. Looks like Fairhaven, you guys got a lot of meetings going on. I go to Rotary every time anyways. Matter of fact, I already presented to Rotary, just because I happen to be there. So I just said, hey, I happen to be here. So I already did Fairhaven Rotary Club.
You wanna go to the selectmen's meeting, Mike?
I have been to them before.
Do you want to go? I've been to
So, Mike and Rick, you're gonna take the lead on getting on the agenda for Fairhaven Select Board?
So we're going to confirm right now, though, that our December 9th meeting is going to be on December 10th. Is that okay, Brooke? Does that work?
Yeah, we'll just have to call it a special meeting, but
Okay.
yeah.
So let's start there and know that we're going to do that.
So will finance also be on the 10th?
No, finance
want
will
on the
still be
9th?
there because we can do 5:30 to 7, really. We can do
But,
What?
but then, like, if Glenn's down here, then he's gotta go all the way
Oh,
back to
yeah.
Orwell, so I
not
would just
nice.
move both
Okay.
meetings till the 10th and have your select board meetings on the 9th, because otherwise, you guys are gonna be
Okay.
all back and forth, which doesn't make any sense, it's
Okay.
only. All right, so we'll
Okay.
just move all those meetings to the 10th.
Okay. I'll go to Castleton.
I'm all over Hubbard.
I'll
We'll
go
go.
with you to the select board.
Tim might show up, too. We'll just let him
Yeah.
know.
I can take care of the Castleton Community Seniors.
Is that the best time to go?
Um,
9 a.m. coffee hour? Or is there another time you think would be good to go, Tony?
Well, I am also on the board of the community center, and we will be meeting on the third Tuesday
Don't
at
tell me that's
8:30
the
in the
10th.
morning. And I can present the information to the people who are there. Most people
The
who are there.
third Tuesday is the 20th, is the 19th.
Yeah,
At what time?
8:30 in the morning.
Can I show up to that?
I would think so.
They wouldn't like kick me out?
No,
All right.
no.
Third Wednesday, 8:30.
You can bring donuts.
And
I
I
know.
talked to the people at coffee hour. That's kind of informally. We've been talking all along.
Okay. Is there an event that can we ask Joanne to do a presentation? And,
Sure,
like, get it on her calendar
Sure.
and try to maybe pick a night
sure.
to do, or a daytime, when most of them come? Because then maybe she'll run a bus and pick up people that might want to just come to that meeting.
Yep,
Does she do that, things like that?
yep,
Okay.
yep. There are people who come by bus to go to like lunch.
Right.
And we could work it out either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Not Wednesday, but Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
That, I'll talk with Joanne.
Okay. All right.
We could do something
So-
at 1 o'clock.
And then
Okay.
then let me know.
Yep.
Okay.
So Orwell, Dave, and Glenn, can you do Orwell? And we'll put Peter on there too.
Peter's pretty busy.
I know, but, West Haven, I think Josh was still waiting to hear back when those meetings are, so I don't,
The
Third
two people,
Tuesday.
the two people that are gonna be there.
They're at the mobile station.
I can track them down.
Thank you.
Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
And the other thing, if I could interrupt, real quick,
Yeah.
the other thing I would add, Glenn, is we have are you Mason?
No.
Because we've got a Mason's Lodge in Orwell that would be worth going to as well. And to the-
So can you do that?
Is Peter? Yeah.
think we're too
I can
young.
Probably do that one.
Okay. What about Benson, Amy, and
Rebecca and I
Rebecca?
can attend the one on December 2nd.
Okay. So will you reach out to them and see if you have to get on the agenda or whatever? Thanks.
And I think all of those meetings have a place for public comment, so at the very least, you're there as
Doing public
you're
comment,
there as a
yep.
member of the public, and so.
Now, under Fairhaven, there's Lions Club. I didn't know we had a Lions Club in Fairhaven.
The Lions Club is Castleton's. I don't know why it's under Fairhaven.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's Castleton and Fairhaven people are on.
Right.
Oh, all right.
But
And it is at the Legion.
it's so is the time right? Because if you look under Castleton, it says same thing, first and third Monday, but they meet at 7 at the Bombazine Lodge.
Correct. But it's the American Legion.
So it's not the
Bombazine.
Bombazine Lodge. So the one under Fairhaven is correct.
Yes.
And it's 6?
Or it should be under Castle.
Yes,
The
correct.
Castleton Legion, they meet.
But it's Fairhaven and Castleton people.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Same
Yeah.
with Rotary's the same. Rotary's Fairhaven and
who's
Castleton.
gonna do the road, who's gonna do the Lions Club?
Who wants to go to Lions Club?
First and third and at night. So it's opposite what we're already doing.
I'll try to put together a calendar for you all with the dates that you have to be where.
Who's the grand poobah there of the Lions Club right now?
I don't know.
I see his face. Okay. First and third Monday. The only time I could do it would be December 2nd. Scott, you don't know who's in charge of that right now? Really?
I know who used to be.
Really, Scott?
But I just can't get the,
Yeah, okay.
I can find out. Yeah, I'll find
Oh,
out.
so Tony's gonna find
So
out.
I'll
find
find
out
out.
and then
Find out how we get
on the agenda and everything. Yeah.
I can do that.
Booster Club, can't we assign Tara to that?
Yeah. We can just ask her to share the information.
Her husband or president,
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely nominate them.
okay.
She's not here.
Well, she's not here, so what else?
Impact Fairhaven, Impact Fairhaven is reorganizing. So I do not believe that that's accurate.
I'm trying to find where that is.
It's like right above Lions Club on the Fairhaven list.
Oh, yeah.
They're reorganizing. That's Seal Hunt,
Okay.
who's in charge of that. So, I can try to reach out to Seal. Does Seal do stuff at the community center too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk
Just
to
ask
Seal?
her and see where they are with that Impact.
Sure.
Fairhaven. Because I thought, last I heard just recently, they're reorganizing.
Yep.
Same group that was doing the whole economic development piece.
I believe so. Yes. Yep.
What about the Lakes Region Chamber of Commerce?
Really?
Down at the bottom, the
I didn't see
regional
that.
ones.
Didn't even know they existed.
Don't know about that.
I can go to that, though.
Mike, you can go to that one?
Wednesday? What Wednesday would you go, Mike?
Let's see.
11th, December 11th, right? Has to be.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
November.
it would have to be next month.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, I'll put that one on mine too.
What about the Rutland Regional Planning Commission?
Who is on that? Is that like somebody from every community in Rutland? Like is it every,
Somebody from each town's planning commission has to have like a delegate or something that will go
in Rutland County though?
in Rutland
Right.
County. So you're gonna have everybody from, Wallingford will have somebody, so you're gonna have a lot more exposure to the whole county. some of them seem to function very well, and there's others where some towns can never get anybody to even go to the meeting.
I'm not sure that that's a.
Good use of our time.
Okay. Did we cover everyone on here?
Yep, unless somebody wants to go
Oh,
to
the
Maple Fields
Bombazine
every morning at 7:30.
Grange or
the guys.
wooden soldier or
What, say that again?
wooden
Sorry.
soldier.
That's what I'm saying.
Just stay there all day?
There's a group that hangs out at the Maple Fields at 7:30
Well, I wonder
in the
if we
morning.
could like just go and put like have a little table that this is information and just come talk to us and ask us questions.
Well, I think that's some place, as well as other places, just to leave a packet of information too. I mean, the general stores to tack one up for
Yeah.
people to thumb
Post
through.
office.
The- In the town clerk's offices,
Yep.
Town halls. Yep.
local stores or restaurants, just to leave a packet out.
Okay.
Yep.
Or maybe a couple if somebody wants to take
All
one,
right.
but.
I'll try to create a Google Doc and organize this, and you can tell me if I've assigned you the wrong one and send it out to you through email. What?
Got that doodle poll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'll attempt it. So,
Will you create some sort of packet we could leave out at places around our community?
yeah, let me talk with Josh about that tomorrow. He has a bunch of materials that he's putting together, but I'm sure.
Nothing too, I mean.
Right,
A couple
right.
pages or.
Yep.
The other thing that I think, and I was talking with, Chris and I were talking about it briefly today, is I think it's important to illustrate that since we've merged, the tax rate has actually gone down in most of the communities, so really show that how that's gone down over the last 3 years and what that does. I mean, some of them in the first year of merger went down 15 cents, which is a huge decrease in taxes. So I think it's important to show that over the course of time as well. So I hadn't had a chance to talk with Cheryl about that. Yeah, but I think that's important to put out.
Also, can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
There's, and I don't know if you, I'm sorry I was late, but if you opened it up to what are people hearing already, we should
Yep.
probably have that discussion.
Yep.
People have already started having discussions, but
Yep.
there may be certain things we all
Yep.
are noticing.
Yeah, have people heard stuff? Do we want to hear it? Like,
That we want to make sure we put information out about.
all right, so Rebecca, have you had any
Just
come your way?
that some people are concerned about paying for Orwell when Orwell didn't want to pay for it all these years, and concern in Benson that if we pay for Orwell, they're going to close Benson.
So maybe we can reiterate the fact that a school closure has to meet certain stipulations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's not an easy
Right.
thing to have done, so that really shouldn't be as.
That's what I've been hearing, is
Right.
people are very concerned about closing.
So express to
Benson.
them that in order to close the school, it requires the community.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm hearing, is that that's
No,
what
I'm
they're
just saying to
concerned
put it in the
about.
packet.
Yeah.
So people can read it, that is.
Okay. Tony, anything?
Just informally talking with the people at the community center on Fridays, coffee hour, and they want to know more. They're ready to hear more now.
Good,
Okay.
good, excellent. How about you,
That's
Mike?
never primarily, people just want to know what's
Details.
behind it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What's
good.
what's behind why we're doing this, or like the details of what it actually looks like?
All of the above.
Okay.
Why, what's the outcome? what's-
Why, what, when, where, how?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of the same sort of things, the whoa, I had no idea, and I think it's important that we reiterate that we're not fixing one hole in one roof in one building, that it's, I think we really just need to lay that all out. The other thing I'm getting is, oh, wow, that's a lot of money, especially since, the articles just came out.
Yep.
So I think it's obviously going to be really important to try as best we can to translate that into,
Yep.
and I'm sure you had a lot of these discussions at the thing you were at, because I know I got an earful as well. People have had bond issuances before. I ended up at the thing that Brooke was at.
Superintendent's
Yeah, the
conference.
superintendent's conference. sell solar panels to people. So anyway, but trying to figure out how to at least find sort of maybe 3 examples of if your house is worth this and you make this, it's probably going to hit you like this. Yep. And if you make, and just have like 3 data points and then let people extrapolate in between, and I think that would be helpful, because I know there's Cheryl, you've said this before, that there's so many variables if we can.
Right, but that is on the website that right now.
No, I'm just talking for the,
Yep.
just to give people a sense of
there.
That's helpful information. And then we're just going to get some blowback, I think, on why do we need a middle school at all. So, I think that, that some people are just saying, well, that seems like an awful lot of money, things are fine, I like the small schools, blah, blah, blah. So I think that pointing, and weren't we supposed to already be saving money already? And, so there's going to be a little bit of a retread of some of the things that we've heard before, but that's just sort of what I'm hearing as well.
Okay. Josh, anything?
I haven't had the warmest reception, to be honest.
Okay.
So, exact same things. Transparency, and the funny thing is, I don't think that most folks, they don't research it, so you have to do that for them. Even if they say they're going to, they're not going to look at the website. They're not, so you've got to put it in fluorescent lights for them. But yeah, the middle school, a lot of people did mention, they're still upset about the consolidation, and this feels like more of that. And once, the loss of the small school. So that happened a couple times, but I think we got our work cut out for us. But
And what, these conversations are people with children in school, people without children in school?
Yeah, I've had mostly with folks with children in school, but also some. Upton is a pretty old community, so some older neighbors as well. So.
Okay.
I'm not sure even getting that. How to get them out to vote even.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, the people who are income sensitive or people on fixed incomes have a different set of questions than people who have third graders.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep.
I tried to talk to the boys at Stewart's last week one morning. It wasn't successful. But, I look at the whole picture, and this is something that I think a lot of the community has a hard time looking at the whole picture, what we're dealing with Castle Village School, what we're dealing with Benson, like we talked about. And, coming down to the 2-pot system, as far as I'm concerned, is important to me, because I think that's where we realize the most savings as far as education. And I think it's still doable with a 2-pot system. But having something down, I'm not very good arguing with those guys on my feet, really. Not as good as they are throwing questions at me. So having a packet together to go and present that. Nice.
Yeah, and I'm happy to come along with you, Rick, one morning.
Someone?
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's hit and miss.
If I'm invited.
All depends on what day it is and what's going on,
Yeah.
what time they're there and what have you. I just had them go by one day when they were all there.
Need a rapid response. I'm at Stewart's, there's 6 of them.
We'll give you a radio, and you can just radio over, and one of us will come on.
Mobile, it's the same.
It is.
They're there at 5
Well,
o'clock
you
in
know,
the
worse-
morning, and they're there till 7:30.
Most of them don't really trust administration,
Right. Right.
Don't trust any administration.
Yes, I'm not, yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
All right, Amy, anything?
I think that everybody acknowledges that there's an extreme amount of neglect and deferred maintenance, and that the high school is in desperate need, and that nobody denies that. So I think, as I've always said, that the focus of the bond needs to not be on the middle school, because that is just a littler part of it. I think the focus needs to be on our community's high school and the neglect and preserving that for the future with an overhaul.
Yep.
I mean, I would echo pretty much what I've heard. There's a lot of people that just aren't going to go to the website, so we need to get that information out there. They're not going to do it, but I think that, it's change. And some people are willing to accept change, and others really, they're happy with what's been happening, but unfortunately, the rest of, everything else is changing around it. And if you don't change with it, you're really gonna be left behind. And it is change, but if we need to prepare the next generation for the world that they're gonna have to live in and be successful in. And what we're doing now isn't really working the best. So we've got to figure out how to do this better. And it's going to cost money, but I feel it's going to save us money down the road. And the thing, I think what I've heard the most pushback is, there's still a group of people who are dead set against a middle school. And it's a change thing. But, with what we're dealing with in some of the smaller schools, when you've only got 3 or 4 kids in that grade, how can you challenge some of those students, and how can you get them the best education that they need? You can't, because you can't offer everything to everybody. And I think one of the key things is it's going to be a financial hit for some people that pay based solely upon what their property is worth. But I mean, as we've seen, when you've got over 70% of the property owners in the district pay based upon income, it's not going to be that big of a hit for them for what you're going to get. I mean, what was it show? Under $40?
$39. Yeah.
$39 a year to do $60 million worth of work if you're paying based upon your income. I mean, that's a phenomenal return.
You
Well,
can't neglect a building forever. I think you make a really good point, Glenn, is another way to look at it is the investment that this is for people in the value of their property, which for some people is the biggest asset they have. And the more value that has, the better for them in the long run. And what builds value is when the communities are desirable because families want to come in, they want to raise their children, they look at what's happening in the ability of the school district to meet the needs and the changing needs. I think there's a story there as well to help people understand.
Well, I mean, nothing is going to get any cheaper. And so as expenses keep increasing, our communities have got 2 options. One is continually to increase your tax rate, or you make it a desirable community so you increase your tax base. Mm-hmm. And so the rate doesn't go up, but you get more taxpayers, and that's what's going to save some of these areas for the future. I mean, 'cause otherwise, if you just keep increasing your tax rate, you're going to chase people away.
So, I don't go out very much. So I've been to Rotary. Other than that, I don't really see many people. But Rotary is made up of a very young and very old group of people. It's very diverse when it comes to that. And it's business people as well as people who work in business in town. And I had everybody from the person who was like, yeah, it's time to do something. Like, I see it. Like, I'm for it. I get it. My children are now out of high school, and I see the deficits, and I see what I would like for students coming through. And then I had the other group of people who was like, well, couldn't you do some of the renovations or some of the infrastructure in bits and pieces? Like, why do we need to do it all at once? Why is it so big? Once I explained that, they were like, oh, it's like, well, if you don't do something for 10 years, you can't fix it in 1, maybe 2 years. It's a longer period. You need more to get done at once. They understood that. And actually, we also had a long conversation about that when a town in Vermont decides to keep their heat at 72 degrees in their school, because that's comfortable for them and that's what they choose to do, and we decide to keep our heat at 59 because that's what we choose to do, because that's what we want to do for our budget, we are paying for that other school to keep their heat at 72 because all of our money goes back up and it all goes back down. So we are helping other towns meet their educational needs while taking away from ours in the process to save our budget. Isn't it time we also did that in our state? And some light bulbs went on and like, oh yeah, we do. We support the whole state of Vermont with the way we pay taxes for education and the way it goes. So why would we not partake in that structure and use it to increase our educational outcomes and what we do in our community? So it was a very interesting conversation, lots of questions and and they're like, yeah, come back and tell us more when you know more. We'll be interested to hear more. So they were a very welcoming group and a very good questions. They had good questions. It was nice. So it was a good conversation. So I'm kind of hearing both sides of it too.
And I think that that's a key point that, Burlington just passed 90 million or 70
Well,
million.
they passed 70, they want another 21.
And you got South Burlington looking for 209 million. So if we do nothing, this building continues to fall down, our kids suffer, but we as taxpayers are going to pay for that $209 million building in South Burlington. So maybe it's time that South Burlington sends a little money down here.
Trevor?
I haven't talked to a lot of people. I do. One of the things when I did talk to a couple people the other day, they were like $50 million or whatever that number happens to come out at. I'm like, well, our budget's 24, so it's double our budget. I said, consider it a mortgage. I mean, when I go purchase a house, I'm looking at not my salary for year one. I'm looking over a 30-year time frame, and it's really not that much. I mean, it's a lot of money. Yes, $50 million or whatever the number happens to be. It's a lot of money, but spread out over time, spread out over this whole community, it really isn't that much. One of the things I was thinking about though is using communication, Chris, technology to communicate with these people a little bit more, who want to know, oh, we're going to have a meeting, or we're going to be at sorry, the Rotary Club on Tuesday at 5:30 or whatever. It would be good if we could reach out to people and let them know, whether it be at Facebook, whether it be, just let them know that, hey, we're going to be here. So be a little bit more proactive about if we know we're going to be at these places. And then if people want to get on an email list of, hey, this is our next thing that's going to happen. This is our next thing that's going to happen. And just try to keep people as informed as we can. Using technology, because that's the easiest.
Yeah, I think Chris and I spoke about, and Julie, at our open house for the high school next Wednesday night, the 20th, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but, maybe Facebook living that event, seeing if we can do that, so.
We should have a student Facebook. They're so much better at it than I am. Always like my head's half cut off.
So I don't know if the possibility of this, but, we're going to have an open house on the 20th. You're going to get such a small number of people.
Yep,
You're going to
we
get some
will.
people. But what is there the possibility of reaching out to like Stafford, because don't they have like a video arts program or something there?
We have a senior Fairhaven Union High School student in that program right now.
If we could get them to produce, whether it be a 10-minute, where they could come in and document some of this stuff and produce
Well,
this as a-
remember, we last year had the annex students here at the high school start to do that.
Okay. But I think if you can do a video of what you're trying to fix and show some of this stuff in all of the buildings and everything, you're going to get more people that will sit and watch that video than will ever come and take a tour of this building.
What about putting a presentation on PEG TV?
Yeah, that's on our communications plan. I think,
Yep.
did I pass that out at the last meeting, our communications plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
So that's on there. Yeah, so if any of you would like to be involved in that,
It's your chance to be a TV star.
let us know. Yeah, so we can set that up. I'll be working with Josh to set up a date to do the PEG TV
But kind of
spot.
tie it in with Glenn's. What is actually the problem? Not just a presentation, but show the problems as well.
Yep. Yep.
Because if a student from Stafford spent an afternoon with Chris, where some of the pictures that we've seen, of what was like the electrical and stuff in this building when it was underwater,
That's
gonna-
really
that's-
the stuff that needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
And that, Josh and I are working on that, so we will have,
Pictures
we will
or a
have
video?
that. I told him I'd bring him to some places in the building and we'll get some video, and I think he's gonna work on that to get that, because we're kind of on a tight timeline here to get to where we wanna be.
And the Orwell building as well, I mean,
Yeah.
that,
Well, yeah, and I think we'll also have an open house there as well, just trying to, there's only so many nights in the week right now, so
I
trying
mean, do you
to
wanna
squeeze
set up
all
what
of
we're
that in.
thinking for next week, so because some of these questions I
Yes.
think would be answered with
Yes,
that.
so next week, Wednesday, the 20th, 6:30, we're having an open house here to discuss the current deferred maintenance issues at the high school, for folks to actually see that, and to discuss the plan for the high school, middle school, and why do we need a middle school gym, for example? Why did we design this pod structure for middle school, and what does that ultimately mean? So people,
Is there any way we can get something to go home with the students?
went home there was a flyer that went home last week.
I guarantee you half the kids didn't even give their parents.
Because giving pieces of paper
I
to
don't know.
kids goes.
It did
Doesn't
go
even-
home last week.
It
I mean,
went
we'll
home in
certainly
our
do something
weekly
on
newsletter,
school.
And I got a paper copy through my.
Yeah.
And it's been on the website, Slate Valley website.
And I think
On
think it's
Facebook.
been on Facebook as well,
Yep.
so.
Yep. But you can
forget-
just move it up. Keep moving it, have Josh
But
keep
we'll
moving it
do
up.
we'll do another, we'll do some more of that this
You can do an
coming
all
week.
call to the district as
Yes,
well.
we can do that.
Don't forget to use Front Porch Forum. A
Yeah,
lot
so,
of
well, the problem we ran into that, we tried to do that last year, and
Okay.
like, I have to actually live in the communities to
So
post on it, and then
I-
we
Julie
tried,
can.
and
I
then
can
we
post in
tried to get like a subscription, there was a cost associated with it if we didn't.
Live
we
in the
We
community.
tried, I mean, maybe it's changed recently, but
But you know
certainly
what?
if you live in the community,
Enough of us live
you
in
you could
communities.
post, I can have
But there's also a
Josh
choice.
send you the
Yeah, there's a choice when you post that you click that says, let other communities nearby
Yes.
see this post, and it usually
Yeah.
comes up Orwell, Benson, Polteny, Brandon, like comes up on mine as like
Right.
choices for around me.
Right.
I always click that
Yes.
when I do
I
it.
mean, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll have something we can use to post on that.
Yep.
and-
Yeah, he wants to.
Yeah, I'll
go-
give it to you. I mean, we have it because we've been using it, so it's just a matter of sending it to you guys, and then you can
Yep.
post it wherever you would like.
And I'm just speaking for myself here, but the more spoon feeding you can do to me, the more spoon feeding I can do to other people.
Well, we have a talking points document. I have Josh working on a packet of information for all of you. And certainly, anytime you have a question, and folks can call us. We're happy to answer any question as
For
well.
the open house next Wednesday, we actually, Brooke and I and Julie sat down.
6:30.
We put a plan together that involves you guys as board members actually presenting certain areas of the project to people at the open house next Wednesday. So we wanted to run that by you and see what you think. Josh would put together kind of talking points, if you say, and then you
If you're
guys would-
comfortable doing
So we
that.
broke it out 6 or 7 different categories.
Yeah, a few more than that, but what we're thinking is we really want it to be kind of interactive. We want people walking around the building, not sitting in a room listening to a presentation. So I think what we would do is we would maybe gather in here to begin with. Julie would just do a brief welcome, we're here tonight to do the following, and kind of go over the schedule for the evening. And then the idea would to be have these stations, and so I think we need to put together a building map of the different stations around the building. But if you wanted to hear more about like the middle school design, you would be in this room, Casey's gonna kind of lead that, and we assigned you all different groups, so if you want a different group, you can tell me you want a different group. But,
Be with me, you won't hurt my feelings.
so, you know,
We were gonna take the large map, the latest version we have of the plans, and kind of blow out the middle school section. So you'll have the middle school section with a bulleted list. You guys can go over that, and there was, like I said, 6 or 7 different groups within the plan that we're looking at.
Unlike many of you, I didn't go to this high school, so don't ask me to give tours, because I'll just get.
well, no, I assigned you a group,
You just have to
but,
stand somewhere, Dave. Stand and smile.
So we were thinking like here would be like if you wanted to hear more about the middle school, but it would definitely be an open house kind of vibe. We'd have Casey in here, Rebecca, I didn't know if you'd be willing to be in here, Tanya, who's not on the phone anymore, but maybe Patty, maybe Josh, I don't know if you'd be willing to be in here and help support that conversation. Then, you know, have a middle school athletics. We were going to see if some of the middle school teachers would come and want to have that conversation, so we reached out to them. I don't really have a board member yet assigned to that group. High school athletics, I was going to see if Allie could be here. I didn't know if Trevor, you could support her in that conversation, and maybe Tara, you know, and being on the booster club. So, and have some talking points around why that the facility was designed the way it was.
You're gonna have sports, you might wanna have Kim Alexander too.
Well, I put Kim, yeah, Kim, that's what I meant,
So there's
Kim
middle school
Alexander.
athletics and high school athletics, so.
Yeah. Special services, haven't asked Bonnie yet, but Chris and Bonnie, and I didn't know if Tony would maybe help support that conversation. So, performing arts, I was gonna ask some of the, music teachers if, you know, they'd be willing to come, and I was gonna ask Angela if maybe she would join that conversation. High school classrooms, I didn't know if Jason could be here that night, and if Amy or Glenn, if you would help like support that conversation about why we did what we did in the high school classroom configurations. Yeah, you're all gonna have handouts and maps and you know, posters. Chris was gonna kind of talk about the infrastructure, and then I didn't know if Mike and Rick, you would feel comfortable joining that group, like around the boiler, the kitchen, the electrical, the plumbing, those pieces.
Warmer on the floor.
That's where you're gonna meet. That's where you're gonna meet for the
Go to the
presentation.
bathroom.
And then I didn't know, like, if Peter can be here, depending on, you know, the turkey, how the turkey butchering goes, but.
On the 20th of November, a week before.
Yes. Well, then Dave, maybe you can hold down the Orwell section, which we're gonna put in the lobby. Well, I was hoping Peter could be here. And you and Peter could maybe, you know, tag team that, or if Peter can't be here, then maybe you and Glenn can tag team that, and I don't know.
I'm there by myself.
We can, or I can join you, I don't know, because I don't have a group yet, but.
You're gonna encourage the people to go and attend
Walk
all
around,
the
yeah, you're
stations.
To
the-
kind of walk
You're the
around, whatever
hostess.
interests them, or what questions
I'll be doing
they have.
that too, kind of guiding people walking them down
Yeah,
the
so that's
hallways.
what I was kind of thinking, walking
I
around
think
and.
it's critical that they get encouraged to attend
All
all
of
the
them.
stations and not just focused on one.
Right. Right.
Well, maybe we can build in some type of 10-minute rotation. I don't know. We've got to work that piece out, but then that we come back together in the library and they have a chance maybe to just sit at a table with one of us and ask some additional questions, or if they don't want to ask face-to-face, they can write them on an index card or something and leave them there. And we can do kind of a publication afterwards of, here were your questions, here are the answers, you know, or the additional information you need. I don't know, I mean, that's the general kind of design we put together. You tell me if you'd like something different.
I just think it's important that they see all the different components.
And I don't know if it's possible to lay it out as just like a path or a journey. You know, you're gonna start here and you're
Go
just gonna
through.
keep going. So they gotta make like a big circle, because if you start here and let everybody just go their own way.
So they all have to follow as a group?
Flow? I don't
Well,
know.
they have
If you
to
break
fight
them
us.
into,
Break 'em
you've
up.
got
They can
6
count
stations.
Yeah,
Break them into 6 groups.
yeah.
They have a passport and we stamp it and make sure they
like
Oh,
an open
gosh.
house.
Yeah, this could get chaotic, but yes.
We have different food.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a different country.
Different cookie.
sampling.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, no joke, there should be food.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
No,
yeah, yeah.
I've already,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
be
I was just gonna do
substantial
like cookies and lemonade
And we
or something.
encourage like young
I'm talking
kids. we
pizza and
encour- like,
spaghetti.
this isn't like, oh my gosh, only
I
bring
want
your
dinner.
adults, right? Like, come with your family. It's a
Time.
family event. Bring. It's not just come.
I could
you know,
talk
leave your
about
kids at home.
proficiencies. I have stuff in
No,
the grant.
I
We
say
could-
bring 'em.
Like the freshmen, right, Cheryl?
Well, it starts at 6:30, we don't
I'd
have an
say-
end
I would
time.
say 6:30 to 8ish would be.
Well, if you were going to all these stations, we're gonna have to,
So what time do you want us here to help set up?
6 or earlier.
3, no. Right when the kids leave the building.
That would be
No,
cool.
I don't know.
I think if you
5:30.
could be here at 5:30 so we can meet and you guys can kind of know
Look
what
over
you're
your stuff,
doing.
yeah.
Get coached up.
Not that you don't, but I
No.
mean, just like
Between
make sure.
5:30 and 6. I mean, we understand people have things to do. If you can't get here till 6, we get it. But starting around 5:30 to maybe arrive to get comfortable and.
As horrible as this is gonna sound, some people might not have seen this coming, and we may need to revisit it after the new year before the vote.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
I agree.
This
Yeah.
might not be a one and done.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I agree.
I think if you try doing this as a one and done, it's going to be a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
It has to be a
fine.
progressional thing, and,
Yep.
and it's more and more is
Offer
known.
the tour
And
again.
you know, and I don't know, do we want to have like a station where they can kind of discuss some of the finances? That's one thing that I didn't
I
put
don't
on
think we're
here.
gonna be ready to discuss the finances on the 20th.
Right.
Okay.
That can be a January thing, maybe.
That's a later conversation before people are getting ready to make that decision of whether they're going to support the project or not.
You know how we have
I
an
mean, because
annual.
it's out there. I mean, there are.
We have an annual meeting every year, right? Right before town meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when is that?
I think
Night
it's
before.
the 26th of February. It's the Monday
Monday
before.
I think it's the Monday before.
Yep.
As a we could do a last minute.
It's the 24th of
Last minute
February.
something that day too. I mean, I'm not saying we don't do something in January, but what's wrong with saying if you want to come an
Well-
hour early and do specific to that, because budget
Well,
meeting,
you
budget meeting.
you will have to have an informational meeting for the bond piece. If we're still gonna go with the vote on town
Yep.
meeting day, you're gonna have to have an informational meeting for the bond piece also on that night.
Same night?
Same night
Okay.
as the budget, so, yeah. So I don't know if I would do a building, I think that might be too much to put a
Okay.
building tour on that too. I
But
mean,
I
I
think we do
would.
need to plan on another one follow-up.
Yep, we could maybe do it in January.
Yep.
Let's see how successful this one is and what we learned from this one, and then we can schedule some other dates at our next meeting. Because I'm sure there'll be some learning.
Yep. January is going to be full swing basketball, wrestling. No, I'm just saying. all
Well,
that
I
stuff,
also
too, so-
spoke with Josh about putting some information on the back of the
Handouts.
Schedule?
programs for basketball.
Yep. It's a good idea.
There's just a lot to do in a
Yeah.
short period of time. Very,
Yep.
very busy.
Yep.
So, whatever help, you guys are willing to give, we'll be
Kids don't
happy to
have-
take it.
Kids don't have school on what, the 20th? Is that Martin Luther King or the 13th? 20th?
It's the 20th, I think. Yes,
saying.
because our board meeting's the 21st.
What? This, November 20th is our one for this, I'm just saying January 20th is a holiday. Saying people have off, might not have to go to work, might be a night, I don't know, just a thought. Instead of getting them out on a night where they just went to work all day and grabbed their kids and might have a basketball game and all that.
But, down the road, it may be something where you have like 2 board members that go to a couple of the basketball games with a table set up in the lobby, for halftime or whatever, just to answer some questions, or they've got information there that people can take. You're gonna have more people come to a basketball game than you will come to a meeting.
Yeah, they still doing the Mary Canfield tournament?
Yep.
So that's a big draw too, Mary Canfield tournament over December break. You get a lot of people.
That's early December,
Usually it's over Christmas break, no?
yeah, but it's before Christmas.
Oh, well, then
this year
it's
it's the
gotta
23rd
be.
and 24th, maybe?
No.
No.
Because we don't go on, I mean,
I think it's like either the 30th and 31st or right around in there.
well, we can ask.
Yeah, find
Don't-
out when that is. Jeez, Glenn.
Sorry about that.
All right.
It's an important calf, an award
Would
winning
you
calf.
make
There's
sure
a cow
that this stuff
having a
ends up
baby.
on the Slate Valley calendar? Like, because I've subscribed to the Slate Valley app
Yep,
calendar thing.
yep.
so-
Yep,
Yeah, make sure.
yep. I think it is on there, but I'll double check.
Should be.
It isn't, or it is?
It may not be, we just finalized the date.
Last week.
All right, get her on there,
We'll look.
because that's where people definitely look.
It's not on the events.
It's not under events, yeah.
All right,
Sure it gets-
we'll get it on there.
All right,
It's on the live feed aspect.
It's on the live
It's on
feed?
the live feed, but not under the events.
Okay, we'll get it on there.
Thank you guys for all the work you guys are doing on this. I know it's a huge lift.
We appreciate all the support, and we'll get it done.
we will. All right, we're moving on to leave of absence request.
So you had a leave of absence request in your packet for Ashley Duquette. She called me this afternoon. Oh, and would like to amend her request, so.
This is the amended version.
Yep.
Sending you the amended version, yep. Oh boy, how many do you need?
Well, we usually have more board members. So, she would like to extend her unpaid leave of absence through Friday, January 17th, and then would like to request to return part-time Monday through Wednesday until Friday, April 3rd, and then return full-time on April 6th. Now, the contract does allow for a year's leave of absence after a maternity leave. And our current long-term substitute would be willing to stay until January 17th that we have in that position. I did speak with Ashley today, and I also spoke with Jason and Kate, and they both support Ashley's request, so, as do I, so I think we can make it
So
work.
a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Great, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you. Central office report. So I know that we are all super busy, trust me, and sometimes reading all this stuff can be a little much. But there's a couple things, I think we need to really try to respect the fact that they wrote it, right, and cared about what they put in it. But one thing I wanted to point out is the role of principals at board meetings. Did anybody have a chance to read that? So I think that because we're so big right now, and they were coming to the second meeting, writing something but not really presenting anything, they were really kind of feeling, how do they fit into this system, is how they were feeling. So Brooke spoke with them, and now just everybody understanding that the principal will attend the evening when it's at their school for their students' presentation. And then she'll work with, I believe, with Jason, since it's at the high school at least once a month. That's kind of unfair. Poor Jason would attend double what everybody else would. So she would just work with Jason for attending those board meetings for when his students are presenting. And then, of course, if you guys have any specific questions for them, you can always put them through Brooke too, so to be able to be answered. So we will only be seeing them when we're at their school, and then they will also continue to write, though,
They're
correct?
still gonna continue to still do the report,
Yeah,
yes.
do the reports.
But they're doing it actually as a
Twice
group.
a year.
So essentially twice a year.
Sometimes 3 times, depends on.
Where the board meetings are. So I just wanted to kind of make you guys aware of that. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, excellent. What else was on there under other? Central office report. No.
Well, actually, I do have one quick question about that. If we get the report from each one of the schools and so on and so forth in advance, can we request that they be at one of the meetings? For instance, if there's something in the report or something we want to talk to them about, or how do you want us to handle that?
Through Brooke. Maybe it can get handled through that conversation instead of actually having them come attend a meeting. You know, my biggest thing was I just wanted to make sure that they were in the same place we were, right? That was my thing, is like, if you're not at board meetings, how do you know? But Brooke obviously meets with them regularly and keeps them up to date about everything that's going on so that they're on the same page that we are. They know what's happening at the board level. But I would run that through Brooke and see if she can't answer it or get an answer from them too.
Because we actually have a policy that says that that's how you will, as a board member, you will communicate with me if you have a question about the school. As a parent, that's, you know, it depends on your role.
Right,
At the time, but.
I mean, I'm not trying to get them to work any harder, but does it not make sense for them to all be here for the meetings? To hear the discussions that go on and
I'll be honest with you, that was my thought too, when Brooke and I were kind of having this conversation. But that wasn't happening. Like, we weren't involving. I think they were looking to be a little more involved in maybe conversation. I don't know. I think there was just, you know, the way it used to be, they used to sit at the table at our board meetings, if everybody doesn't remember. The principals used to sit at the table in our board meetings. They were not in the audience. They were part of it. And that's changed a little bit.
I think with just the evolving roles and responsibilities and the structure of the board, I think they're just feeling like, it's more of a central office conversation at this level, and certainly, we work really hard to keep them informed about what's going on. I communicate with them daily in a lot of cases. And so, I mean, whatever's happening here, they're also hearing about it, our leadership team meetings and our one-on-one meetings. And so I'm not sure that they're missing anything. I mean, I think they were just wondering what they've just been struggling with what their role is in terms of these board meetings. Right. They feel like, sometimes they might be here just for the sake of being here, and they're not really being involved in the meeting.
But they can always watch the PEG TV.
Correct.
Bottom line, I think it's a waste of time, because they don't have any input.
I mean, I think if we have a matter that I know that's going to be on the board agenda, I usually will ask all of them ahead of time, hey, what's your input on this, so I know, what I need to be communicating to you. I also think they don't want, they very much are interested in, while each school has its own unique identity and they want to preserve that, but they're also very interested in being a united front and not having a competition between schools. And so I think they're very sensitive to that issue, especially, in front of the board. And they want to respect that. They very much want to work together. So I think they're just kind of wondering what I think one of the questions they brought up was, what do you want from them? I mean, because many times their principals' reports, there are no questions either. So they've sat through 2 hours of a meeting and there's no questions either. So. I think they're fine either way. I think they're just, it's a wonder. And they are out quite a few nights a week, so I just want to respect that as well.
Yeah, and I would rather try to figure out a way to involve them more rather than less. And if we have them available at the board meetings and they're, I frankly, sure, they sit in the audience and they don't, really engage, but we don't really ask them to engage necessarily either. I would rather, to be perfectly honest, I'd rather bring them closer in, and maybe we have a principal's report at the beginning of the meeting, and then they can present their own principal's report, and then we would actually be more inclined to ask them questions about it, perhaps, rather than just reading a document, and then we can send them all home. You know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but you know, so we've got these really experienced people who are on the front lines of a lot of the issues that we're talking about. It'd be great to hear their input as to how we think we could be having better outreach with the communities about, you know, what are they hearing from parents about the middle school? I'd rather have more professional input than less, and maybe to respect their time, do that at the beginning of a board meeting, and then say, stick around if you want, or go home, to respect their time. But I feel, something feels weird about just saying, yeah, don't bother. You know, this is their school district as much as it is ours, and they're the people who are on the front lines every day dealing with all the issues that we're talking about. So I kind of don't agree with telling them just don't bother showing up. I'd much rather find a way to involve them more. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but that's just my opinion. So I'd reconsider that.
I'd rather they were given a voice.
Well, they are given a voice through the written document.
Yes, but
Right, and I don't know, honestly, like, I don't think they want to stand up and say something about their school each at a meeting, because
We
we're
used to do that.
We used to, but we're a consolidated group, and I think they feel like they want to present to us in a consolidated group, which is why it turned into one. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it turned into one report from the principals instead of individual reports from the principal.
It's the same thing. I mean, they're each
So-
giving us a report, right? It's not like they're giving
Yeah.
Brooke are they giving you a report and then you are distilling that into the
No,
document?
no.
That's
What
my
they,
point.
as a group, they
As a
decide
group.
who's gonna do it that month, and then they all give that person input, and they create one report.
Right.
That's, I thought they were individual out.
They used to be, and this year
this
they've tried to, no, this past one was. I think they're struggling with what to put in the report, because before, they've been told by the board that you do not want like a newsletter type report. So I think they've been, struggling, and I've been,
When did we tell them that?
last year.
Yeah.
You did. So I think they're struggling with what needs to go in there. And so I think they've come up with some good topics for this year. They're going to talk about how they set goals with teachers in their next report, and what the evaluation process looks like. So, I mean, I think they've come up with some.
And then when we visit that school, we get unique perspectives
From the
based on
student
presentation
presentations.
on what's going on in that particular school. That's the point of doing the student presentations, is to see the uniqueness of that school, which is why we rotate through schools. I hear you, Dave. I 100% hear you. I do. Yep, I do.
And I don't think they care, one way or another. I think they just want some more direction from the board as to what you want their role to be.
Right.
So what can we do to give them more direction?
Yeah, yeah, we need to, if we want them here, we need to tell them that we want them here, and we need to kind of, involve them or engage them or let them know why they're at that meeting.
So I greatly enjoy the frontline perspective. And I can think of many times when the principal voice is extremely valuable. But I also recognize that they're quiet quite often as well. So, perhaps we could give more credence to that student presentation, maybe something on top of that, so that there was a point in which the administrator from whatever building could express any other points of interest. I don't know. Does that make sense?
About that particular school.
At school, what's happening,
Yep.
When we're at that school
When we're
for
at
that
that
student presentation, get a little bit deeper
Yeah.
picture of that school.
So the student presentation is always a highlight, but something else would be, might behoove us all.
So only that principal would be at that meeting.
Right.
So all the other principals would not be there. I just wanted, so everybody kind of understands the format of how that's going to be. And so once a month, we'll get a school, a student presentation.
I mean, you might get it twice a month if you also have the
Right.
high school.
Right,
one
well, it
month.
depends, yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah. But for that school, is that all that we want?
Do you still want principal reports? Do you still
Do people still, I mean, do we still want them to type up something? I kind of, to be honest with you, I like to see that they're all doing similar stuff because there are some things that should be similar, like teacher evaluation should be similar across the board, right? There should be similar curriculum things. Maybe how they distill that in each building obviously is unique to teachers, but what is the fifth grade topic that, I mean, what else did they think of to write about? So teacher evaluations.
You know, they were talking about, you know, PBIS was an example that they did recently about, yeah, that's a district initiative, but how that plays out in each school is very different. And each school is at a different stage in the implementation of that program. So I think
do we
that's
still want
another
that?
example.
Frankly, I wish I could ask them directly right now. You know?
Yep.
Like
how
about-
would they like to be more involved?
Well, this was the plan they came up with when I
Oh, no,
when
I'm
I
not
sat
saying, I'm
with
just
them.
saying, it just seems like there's somebody missing in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they all have unique situations in each one
Correct.
of the schools.
Correct.
So when
Absolutely.
you talk about them wanting to have a togetherness as far as all principals go, with one report to us in our meetings, right? Rather than each school saying what's going on in each individual school.
Each
principal.
month. So when we're at that school,
No, I
we'll
know
get in
that,
depth.
but
But
I
then,
meant in our
yes,
regular
each
packets.
month in our regular, only once a month, not in both of them. But once a month, we would get a combination report.
And that's what they want to go to, is a combination report. But
Because I think
agree
before
with
they
Dave.
used
I
to
think
do
they
the
oughta-
newsletter type thing, but folks wanted to move away from that. I mean, but we had different board members, so I don't, you know,
Well, I think
I think they're happy to do whatever. I think it's just what do you want and what would be informative and useful to you all.
Right, and part of my thing is I'm not like a 20-year board member, right? This is
Right.
all, you know, and so we've got like a sort of a confluence of circumstances. Like, there's some people on this board who are new, like me, and have been board members on various boards for, you know, right? So I'm trying to figure out what kind of information I want from people. And also, we're now a consolidated district, and there's a lot of stuff that's different than it was, and, you know, it's a totally different sort of environment for all of us. I don't know, in the first year of us being an actual consolidated district, it seems like it would be good to have more voices in the room, and if we in respect of their time, we do something with them early, see how it goes. Maybe we end up, they just sit there, and then we don't have any interaction with them at all, and then they go home, and after 6 months, we go, well, that didn't work out, that's fine, let's just cut them loose. I don't know, that's just me.
No, I,
Submitted for your consideration.
So what do you want me to direct them?
yeah, that's what we need to
Well,
decide.
I need to
personally,
know.
I'd like to have them write a report about what's going on in their school monthly.
So like a newsletter.
Their school, their individual
So like
school.
more of like a newsletter.
Yeah, for, like, the oral principal makes out a report, what they've done this past month, and it's in a monthly report for us to read. I thought that's the way we were still doing it.
Yeah.
It's topic by topic, right? I mean, they sort of pick a topic for the month.
Well, I thought it was like Fairhaven New High School, Orwell, Benson.
They do write it,
Castle.
that it does look that way on the way that they set it up.
But there was usually like a theme. Last month was a little different, but the ones before that, there has been a theme.
Still are splitting it up by.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant.
Yeah, they still are. It's just more of a fluid.
But it's based on the theme. It's what's happening in their
Oh,
school
they all work on
based
the
on a
same theme.
specific theme, right? Right.
Because they all do unique things. All these schools have
Oh,
unique
absolutely.
traditions
Of
that
course.
They do.
Yep.
And I'd like to hear about those different things they're doing, you know, if it's monthly or bi-monthly, I don't know. I don't know if they have to be
I
here.
think, you know,
Maybe quarterly. Maybe quarterly, so that there's a lot to write about, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, sometimes they might, not that they might struggle, but, you know, asking somebody to write something every month when they have so much going on.
Maybe that's the answer, is rather than having them schlep down to wherever we are every meeting and sit there and whatever, that maybe it's every quarter we can write them in to, if we have specific questions of things that have come up, then we can talk to them about that. I don't know, I like I think that it's a good idea to have that interaction. I've always felt uncomfortable with them sitting out there because I didn't know if we were allowed to talk to them or not, which may sound a little stupid for me, but, you know, they were kind of over there and we're kind of over here. And so maybe if we just didn't fight them for a thing every 3 months, maybe that makes more sense.
You'd have to have
Compromise.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what the
Yeah, because
whole
what would,
direction
I mean, I guess things come up organically that we wish we would ask them. Some things are on an agenda that, like maybe tonight with the innovation, that would have been an example where it would have been nice to hear their frontline stuff. I get that, you know, but there's not always something on our agenda that we would need to interact with them for, too.
So why don't, can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Can I work with the executive committee and kind of come up with a plan?
I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I mean, I may be, you know, and again, I may be the only one in the room who feels a bit.
No, I totally agree with you. I actually really, I
You know,
mean,
so maybe, it sounds like maybe there's, I think we only have half of our people here, but maybe this is the kind of thing that it makes the most sense for you to sort of.
I feel like we're letting them down.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
agree with you.
It's a
I
two-way
agree with you.
conversation. That's part of the.
But it is a two-way conversation, because it would be nice to ask them,
Yeah.
how do you feel like you'd like to participate in this process? I agree.
So to that point.
Well, that's how we got where we are.
Where they can join us for the discussion.
Well, that's how we got to this, where we are right now, because Brooke asked them, how would you like to be involved? And this is what they came up with. So we did ask them that question, but we asked them through Brooke. We didn't ask them face-to-face, us. And that's where we got where we are right now with what the decision was. When they put in there that what was the,
That's cool. I'm totally cool with that, Brooke. I think that makes a lot of sense. For you to have the conversation and say, you know, that people would like to actually talk to you, how do you want to work that in? I'm cool with that.
so I guess the question would be though, do we want to talk with them individually about their school, or do we want to talk to them as a group?
Maybe they'll have some decent ideas about that.
Because we will see them twice a year individually, right, to ask them, to talk about whatever's going on with their school. But I guess the big thing is do we want to see them as a group? And do we have questions for them as a group that we would like to do?
I think maybe this, you know, if this is what the principals kind of came up with,
Yeah, when we asked
then why don't we at least give this one round through the schools as to what they've proposed, and see how that works for us. It's, you know, we could say, you know, we want to go back to having everybody at the meetings, or this is a great thing, you know, because we're having more interaction with that one principal at that one meeting than we would have ever had with that person in 6 meetings all around. And there's nothing to say that if after 6 months, this isn't working, we can't go back to where we were. But if this is something that the teachers came up with, wanting to try, then we kind of owe it to them to at least, let's try it. And I hope that maybe with that, the principals might become more comfortable, because, you know, most of these principal reports, we get the good. And they really need to share with us some of the bad too, so that we can fix that. And we don't get that very often. And I mean, as much as we'd like to think that everything is great, we know that it's not.
That's what we were trying to accomplish when we asked them to revisit how they did their reports, was to capture more than just
Yeah.
the icing. But it didn't really do that.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think there was a meeting last fall where it turned into board members asking them each questions. I think it was around student data, and it turned into this competitive kind of thing where, well, why are you doing that at that school and not that school? And I think they felt badly after that meeting about how it had turned into this competition, rather than how can we move forward together and kind of respect the individual differences within the school. And, you know, I know that wasn't intentional, but I think that's kind of some of the hesitancy around that. And yeah, there are unique circumstances, there are different needs, and things are going to look differently in each building, and they should. But I think they just want to be really careful as to not turn it into, well, that school's better than the other schools. And I think that, that's kind of why they've morphed in their principal reports.
Yeah, I think that's why they have to come here individually. I think you're right. You have them all here at once.
And
we're
it's
trying
just
to
a
question
natural
about
kind
one
of thing. I
aspect of
don't
one
think it was
school.
any, it just naturally
Yeah.
morphed. It
Yeah.
was a meeting we had at Castleton Village School last, I think it was October.
About test data.
It was
Well,
around,
some of these conversations are gonna be uncomfortable conversations. That's our job, right? I mean, and that's their job. You know, we can't just all put our best, face on all of that.
Absolutely,
And
no,
don't get
right.
me wrong, I'm not being critical of what you're saying, but I think sometimes, it's legitimate to say, this is this way and over here, and it's this way over there, perfectly without trying to hurt anybody's feelings or say, you suck and you're great. Say, why? And I think that it's important for us to be able to ask those questions. I'm sorry if they feel uncomfortable about it, but.
yeah, I'm not
maybe
sure. I
it's-
think
maybe it's
I'm not sure.
meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I don't think any of us or them or whoever, can be afraid of having difficult conversations in public.
Oh, no, I don't think people are. I think it was just the way that one played out.
That's why I say in their principal's report, I like to hear a little bit more, other than the talking points they're talking about. Something that's going on in the school, or
Yeah,
a concern they have with the school. And that's in our packets that we can read and look at.
More data. It's just more data points and having a wider conversation on broader topics always makes more sense.
Basically not the Facebook version of what's going on at school.
I'm not on Facebook, so I don't see it.
Well, if you see it on
Start now.
Facebook, you know it can't be true.
The Christmas letter version. To date myself.
All right, so this is going back to Brooke, back to the administrative team to talk to them about our conversation. Is that where we're at right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I'm
we're very,
still not
I know, I
clear.
We
think
had a
we're,
couple things on the table. That
We
was
need a
one. There was one,
summarizer.
the executive session, that was also on the table.
Yep.
executive
And
group,
then we were
right?
batting around some ideas, one of which was a combination principal report and kind of highlighting the individual principal when we went to that school. So where are we at now?
So I'm thinking that they came to Brooke with this solution for what they felt when I had her ask them, like, because that was my first thought, was exactly like, well, what do they want? Like, what are they looking for that we aren't giving them, right? What are they asking for? So Brooke went back, and this is the solution that they came to us with. I feel like we do need to let it play out a little bit. I kind of agree with Glenn. I feel like we need to, and she can continue this conversation with them at the admin team, but let's let it play out, like where we're going to the schools, seeing the student presentation. I feel like only Trevor's over there. Feeling like the student presentation is, and then being able to talk maybe more in depth with that principal at
Could we
that school.
template that somehow?
Could we what?
Could we template that somehow? Could we have that something a little more formal, like student presentation, but then there's another, I hesitate to call it an interview, but some kind of.
Maybe like a 20
like-
question,
Yes.
you know,
Time frame.
10
you know.
questions for the board, 10
Right.
questions for the board for the administration.
Yep. Or something like that. So let them know
Whatever.
that
Is that
that will
something the
happen.
executive committee might come up with, or?
And then just ask the same questions to at each meeting for each.
Does somebody want to take the lead on what those questions might
Right.
be on the
Right.
executive committee?
Broad categories, what's working well, what are your challenges, what are your opportunities? And keep it-
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Doesn't have to be 10, but yep.
But to Glenn's point about, we should be asking what challenges they're facing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And give them,
And what they think we can do as a board to help resolve those.
give them an opportunity to ask questions of the board as well. Because if they're not at every meeting, if they
Yep.
don't get it, you know, they may want more information.
Brooke could probably come up with those questions for us.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 6 or 7 right there.
So I'll do a little template and I'll send it to the executive committee and you tell me if it's good. And then we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheryl needs a food advisory committee member under others, so I don't know if we
I don't
can
know what
just.
that means.
Well, she'll explain it.
All right, so Cheryl has another about food. Lay it on us, Cheryl.
So. Super exciting.
I made it sound exciting.
You did.
Thank you. On, let's see, Thursday, November 14th at 2 p.m., we are having a meeting of the Food Service Advisory Committee. So this committee, we need to, the schools have had these committees separately, so we're doing this committee district-wide, and we'll also be using this committee as we go through the RFP process, because we'll be going out for bid on our food service contract. So this committee will be to formulate some of the things that we wish to have included in that RFP to the extent we can, and then also have an opportunity to help evaluate responses to that. So the committee's made up of staff and students, and Lori Colgan, who is also assisting us in the process. And I'd love to have a board member on the committee. So it's at 2 p.m. on Thursday, the 14th, and it's at Fairhaven Grade School. 2:30. Would you like to? Great.
Rebecca, fantastic.
Rebecca, thank you.
Great.
Will there be free food and snacks and samples? Just saying, a food committee meeting should have food.
And I know there've been some, if you just indulge me for a minute more. So we compared October of 19 meals served compared to October of 18 meals served. We had an increase in breakfast of 2,700 meals.
Oh my gosh.
And an increase in lunch of 1,500 meals.
Wow.
Yeah, so significant increases. I mean, the cafeterias are full. Kids are definitely eating, so.
I think I told you the last meeting, we had to order more silverware.
Yeah.
So yes, a significant increase. But I think that's.
Is that still within the 25% that you've been estimated?
Probably not, no.
Or how much higher is that? I don't know what you serve normally, so.
So we project an increase, but not that much of an increase, but it's also the first month, so I think you have to give it some time to sort of settle.
Unless the food
Where it goes.
unless the food choices and things start to really change, it'll probably level out. But if that starts to change, you'd be surprised, I think.
Yeah.
I know of certain students who have figured out how to make things a meal. The high school. So if you get this, and an apple, it's now a meal.
Right, well,
It's
that's,
free, instead of just getting this and this.
right.
So they're starting to be a little smart
That's
about
all,
that too.
that's how, I mean.
I know.
A reimbursable meal
I know.
has to have all the components.
Correct.
That are required by the federal.
I have the plastic components in my office. I know.
Okay, and you have to have all those things, so every
yeah.
single component
Yep.
makes up that reimbursable meal. That's why we've had this discussion before, concerns about, kids not eating some of the things that have been served, but in order for the meal to be considered a reimbursable meal, they have to take all those components.
It's good that they figured it out, because now they're eating.
Because they're eating, right?
Absolutely
I mean,
Got it.
Yep.
You got it. It's good stuff. So,
If all the apples are in the garden.
Financially, we don't know anything yet. How much more is cost?
I would say based on 1 month, it's too soon to give you any, I'd say I'm thinking it will likely cost more than I thought.
And the reimbursement of those that had prepaid, has that gone out?
We have been reimbursing people that have prepaid. We haven't just done a blanket reimbursement because students, if they wish to have a second or a la carte and things like that, those have to be paid for in order to, and unless you have cash in hand.
Have families had to request that, or how have you approached that?
Yes,
So it's only upon request?
we've been doing it upon request. Yes.
And then at the end of the year, would we pay that out at the end of the year, or would it roll forward?
Well, we haven't. Certainly we could. We haven't because it's been carried over. If students graduate and there's a balance, we do send a letter out and say, I think it was anything over like $2. If you had a balance, we let folks know that they had a balance. We said, you can contact us and we'll be happy to send you a check, or if you don't contact us, it just goes back into the food service program. So I think, some families, depending on the amount, just
And
let
how
it
have
go.
you notified people that they can receive that upon request? Because that was actually a question I was approached about.
So the high school graduated students, we actually send personal letters
No, but like
to
the
those
rest-
people. The others, we haven't done anything at this
That,
point.
I was
not-
approached with a request
not in
about that.
general. But if we've been questioned or contacted, we let folks know that. We can refund the whole amount, part of the amount, you can you can wait and see. We can handle it any way you want. We have a lot going on and just trying to cover all those things, but, I can add it to our list of tasks that
Well, I mean, simple news blurb on, it wouldn't take much just to put the information out there so people knew.
Yep.
They just need to call.
Yeah, if interested, call.
Yep.
All right. We have, any other? Any other? All right. We have a need for a quick executive session for a legal matter. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Any questions? All right, to include administration is fine.
Or
No
they can- or they
action.
can go.
Are we gonna do action after?
You might do action.
Yeah, we might do action after. Or you can leave. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
While we're waiting, do we want to do our agenda building? Because
because it's
Well, you
still-
might have action afterwards.
Oh, is he still on?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He should be right back.
Okay. Poor guy, probably to go to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for coming.
Well, you can do agenda building if
that's what I was saying.
then while it's on.
Yep.
Well, we'll have building and grounds, and policy.
There he is.
I'm sure we'll have another
Innovation
project update.
Feedback from the open house.
Yep.
In elementary.
Castle
There
Elementary, so
we
we'll
go.
have a student presentation.
Yep.
And then, are we jumping to Castle Elementary and Castleton Village?
Yes.
We are, okay.
You have been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where, you mean in December?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't write the,
That's,
I don't
no, I'm
know.
just saying, in general, are we?
In general, we
Yes.
have been, yes.
Yeah, we have been. We go to each one. Okay.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Yep.
All right. Anything else you can think of? Not right now.
I'm sure there will be a few other things.
Yep.
When is it?
25th? Monday before Thanksgiving.
For fun. So, all right, so yes, I had a first and a second. All in favor to go into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. So I need a motion regarding our legal matter.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that the Slate Valley Board, or Slate Valley District join in in pursuing claims against Jewel and for Brooke to sign on behalf of the board.
Second.
Great, any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and that, friends, concludes our meeting. A motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll see you.